Welcome back to another episode of Private Parts with me, Tom Lucy, and our very special guest this week, comedian Michael Odewale.
Wow.
Here we go.
Thank you.
Come on.
Wow.
Trying to get as much energy in this room as we can.
I never know whether to join in on my clap.
You can join in, yeah.
I'm gonna clap for myself.
Clap for yourself. Yeah, here we go. Michael
Thank you.
Odewale.
I'm clapping for everybody.
You're clapping for the room, yeah.
For the room,
There's at
yeah.
least 200 people in the room right
Yeah. This energy is bubbling. You know?
now. How are you, Michael?
I'm very good, man.
You good?
I'm very good.
I
It's good
thought
to be here.
you always have like a really calm presence about you.
Do I?
I like it, yeah.
Yeah.
Every time we've hung out, you're just very chill, very
I try.
calm.
It's all internal.
Is it?
No,
Is it
external.
Internally, are you as stressed as everyone else?
A little bit. I try and do my things. I'm into the meditation
Yeah.
now. You know, I'm into all that Gren Power.
Okay, we're straight into it. I
Yeah,
like this.
yeah.
We're straight into it.
That stuff works.
What, the Gwyneth Paltrow meditation?
Like the meditations, I don't know, like the other stuff. She made like
Yeah.
a vagina candle. I don't
you
do
into
that.
vagina candles?
Not really my
Okay.
thing. I think they're sold out.
I've heard that they're on your rider. Is that fake?
Listen, I can't confirm or deny that. But I do the meditation. That helps. And
Is
that
this
helps
a
me
recent thing?
Been like 2 years.
Okay,
two,
fine.
3 years.
Okay.
You know.
Do you do transcendental
I do
meditation?
transcendental.
Yes, I learned to do that once.
Oh, really?
I still do it occasionally, but I went and did the course. You've got to do a course, right?
You paid to go see a guy.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
You've got to go and do a proper training thing.
If you want to do it properly, you pay
Yeah.
to see a guy, right?
Yeah.
For the transcendental meditation.
Explain
place.
to the listeners what it is.
So then you go to some random house
Mm-hmm.
and then he gives you a mantra and he says you can never repeat the mantra
Yeah.
to anybody else because it's your special mantra.
Yeah.
But I think there's only one mantra and they didn't think of another one and they just don't
I
want
think
anybody
that as
to
well.
share
Have
it.
you ever told anyone?
I've never told anybody my
No,
mantra.
me neither. I'm too scared to. I feel like something really bad would happen.
I feel like, I don't know if it's like Scientology where we
Yeah.
start revealing secrets.
Where
And
did you learn to do it?
It was some house in West London.
Was it? Of course,
Yeah.
it was West.
It was
London.
always
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
West London. It might have been Gwyneth Paltrow who taught
Yeah,
me
yeah.
that. But that,
Was it like a bored housewife in?
it was like a
Shepherd's Bush
very
or something?
zen woman. This was it was like straight after lockdown, and I was like, I want to try and do something different.
Yeah.
I want to change my life, so I'm going to learn how to meditate. And
Yeah, yeah.
get some inner peace. So I did. That. I
Nice.
don't regret it,
Yeah.
like in terms of paying the money,
Yeah.
because I feel like I'm more internal.
Sort of
but I do
leveled
feel
out.
like I could have just asked you for the mantra.
Did you ever do you ever meditate before you go on stage? Is that a useful thing to do?
No.
Would
nah.
that? Do you think that would help,
If it was like a really big,
or would it put you in too relaxed a mood?
it's supposed to give you like an energy boost.
Yeah.
Because it's what like you've just seen like the Jerry Seinfeld
I was gonna say, yeah.
interviews.
That's why I did it, because I listened to Jerry Seinfeld on a podcast, and they were like, "What do you think is?" He basically was saying that his advice to any young comedian would be to learn how to meditate and lift weights. Have you seen him say that as well?
He did say that.
He said
that's the
lift
key
weights and meditate.
to
And he said if you can
happiness.
do that, you'll be absolutely fine.
He is also a billionaire, isn't he?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think that will help him with the happiness.
But normally when
Got
you
weight
listen to
lifting.
like billionaires giving advice, it's a little bit excruciating.
It's like wake up 5 a.m.,
Yeah.
take a cold shower.
But when I heard Seinfeld say
what
that,
poor
I was
people
like,
do.
oh, that's interesting. That's like a different take on, wake up early and work hard.
Yeah, so I do enjoy it. I think it just gives me a little bit of like
Yeah.
pause before you go into like a busy day. Not that my days are that crazy,
No.
but like I think it's just a little bit of pause.
But I find like, because we've done so many gigs together.
Mm.
And we started like around the same time.
What year did you start again?
20, maybe about almost 10 years ago.
Same. I think I'm 10 years.
So
out.
like, what's that? 2015.
I would have been 2014. Yeah.
Yeah,
2014,
around that time.
2015. Yeah.
Yeah, but normally I find like when you do gigs as a comedian and you're on the bill with other people, there's quite a few people that I would be nervous about sitting in a dressing room with before. But I'm always happy to sit in a room with you.
Yeah.
But there's not many people like you who I think, oh, that's fine. Michael and I can have a chat.
Michael, what were you nervous about?
I don't know. I find a lot of comics quite difficult to talk to.
Yeah.
Because their energy's quite all over the place. Or they're just very self-centered.
Yeah.
They're only talking about themselves.
Well, you got some of the older ones a bit maybe
Bit bitter, maybe.
bit bitter, a bit like that kind of energy.
Yeah.
And then maybe you got some younger ones who got a bit more of a nervous energy if they're
Yeah.
just starting out. So maybe I think it's good to have someone your
Do
age.
you do that thing where if you don't want to see people, or if you don't want to chat to people before, will you do the thing I do where you just turn up 5 minutes before your set?
Is that what you do?
Yeah, because I think if I turn up just before, then I'm minimizing the time I've got to be backstage. Whereas if there's someone I like on the bill, I'll be like, oh, I'll go a bit early and we can have a chat.
But I'm happy saying hello, doing some pleasantries.
Yeah.
And then I'd feel comfortable sitting in silence.
Yeah.
Are you not a good silent sitter?
Maybe I am. A lot of it is sitting in silence, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like I just did the Comedy Store last weekend and everyone was really nice, so the backstage was fine. But I have been there before where it's been like, you know, and you're there for 3 nights in a row and you think, I don't want to be in this backstage room.
I think I
want to do the gig and then I want to get out. I don't want to hang around.
But there's a perception that like comedy green rooms are just must be full of like banter.
Yeah.
And just like great. It can be just kind of very just plain.
Yeah.
You going to Edinburgh? Nah, man, that was my conversational topic. Just done. There, you shut that down.
Or someone comes off stage and you go, well done. No matter how well it went.
Yeah.
Well done.
You ever been honest with somebody, or someone been honest with you about like it didn't go well?
Yeah, I've done gigs before where I've very obviously had a bad time, and it's quite hard to.
Would you prefer somebody just be like, yeah, man, it's a tough one, or would you be like, hey, man, good stuff? What would you prefer?
I don't know. I feel like in those situations, it's nice when you feel like there's a sense of camaraderie.
Yeah,
when there's a really, really difficult audience, or the gig is really difficult. It's nice when you feel like, oh, you're all in this together.
Yeah.
But sometimes you don't feel like that. Sometimes you feel like it's still, you know, every man for himself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It should be nice where like everyone's sharing war stories.
Yeah.
You know
like
what I mean?
Kelly Convey, you know Kelly?
Yeah.
She sent me a message yesterday saying she just had some horrible flashback to some gig we did together in a theatre foyer in High Wycombe. And she was like, it just made me laugh thinking about how bad that gig was. And that I do have so many memories of like driving to a gig, it being so terrible that it's like funny how bad it is.
Yeah.
And then you drive back. And that's fine because you're kind of in it together.
Do you store that memory straight away? Oh, this is going to be a funny story. Is
No.
it like months later? You're like, you know what? I could see that this
I
was...
sort of block that stuff out. Like when she texted me yesterday, I'd forgotten. I think my brain like...
Your trauma response is to just
I
forget.
block things out.
Forget it happened.
Yeah.
Are you a drive home in silence type guy after a bad one?
What I used to do is
sit up straight.
Yeah. What I used to do is drive home listening to like Jerry Seinfeld talking about meditation.
you would.
And then I'd go, oh God, I've got to learn to meditate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But we've done a lot of those sort of gigs together.
We've done a few. Do you know what the worst one is? The worst one is when you're like, woo, that was a tough one out there, and then everyone else has a good one. And you're like, oh man, I guess maybe it just wasn't my night. I guess, you know, those are the worst ones.
It's hard to disguise, isn't it?
But we've done a few gigs.
Yeah.
Not so much these days.
No.
Not so much these days. But we used to like
We
go
used to
through
do a lot together, yeah.
They don't put us on. The two bad boys of comedy. That's why they don't.
They
put
can't
us
put
on.
us on together, can they?
Yeah.
'Cause it gets
too much explosions.
Gets too messy,
Too much fire.
It's too much fire. Are you a January guy? Do you like January? Do you like New resolutions and changing? You seem like a guy who, I don't know what I'm basing this on. Maybe the meditation, but you seem like someone who's up for trying things.
I've got a curious spirit.
Yeah.
I say, every day is January 1st.
I like that. Every day is January 1st.
Every day, you can change your life any day. I don't
Yeah.
know why people wait till January 1st.
I
You
like
can do
that.
it, November.
But I feel like you're a guy who, if you hear someone doing something interesting, you're like, oh, I'm going to try that.
I've been told...
You're not so stuck in your ways.
I've been told I got the energy of a guy who could be persuaded to join the cult.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
I don't know what that means, though. I don't know if that's a compliment.
If someone told me that, you had met some weird guy and they'd encouraged you to move to Alaska, I'd be like, oh yeah, I could see that.
What is it?
You're quite impressionable.
I just have that spirit where I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Do you know what? Do you know the people with like leaflets?
Yeah.
Like they come for me.
Man.
Like they'll let two people go.
You're a fucking leaflet's
and then
dream.
they'll come to me. I don't know what it's in my eyes.
Yeah.
Of like like Buddhist monks. They'll be outside like Hackney.
Yeah.
You got like Buddhist monks with the books. They always stop me.
They stop you.
They're
yeah.
like, brother, I can
got
sense in your spirit.
You've got a very open face.
And then obviously because I don't know how to like extract myself. So I do end up having a 5-minute conversation, and I will take the book. And I will make highlights in the book, but that don't mean I'm gonna join a Buddhist cult. But like, I don't know what it is about me that gives off that spirit that I'm like.
It's a nice thing.
Yeah.
You got a very like inviting energy, I think.
Yeah. Sometimes I walk past the Scientology one time. I'm like, I'm not gonna join that because you know I saw a documentary. Didn't look great, but I'm like I could take a free test.
Yeah.
That seems fun.
Yeah, why not?
You know, I want to see how the sausage is made.
What, in London there's a Scientology?
Yeah, there's one.
Where is it in London?
I can't remember. There's a couple spots. Yeah.
I've been to the big one in LA. You know, there's that big blue building.
You went there?
Well, not inside, but I was there like 8 years ago with a friend of mine, and we were like, should we go to the building and just stand outside it? So we went and just stood outside. And someone came out and tried to talk to us and invited us in.
Really?
And I wanted to go in, and he said, we're not going in. And I regret that.
Really?
Yeah, because he thought once we got in the building, then it's just a free-for-all.
You
we
reckon...
may never come out.
I don't know if it works like that.
But I don't think it works like that.
It's a legal building.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's disappearing in the building.
What about you? Have you got that kind of spirit?
Yeah, I like to try things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like, if I hear that someone's doing like a weird, I don't know, like a diet, a 3-day extreme diet, or like, I'm interested in trying that. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not so much. I'm more for the mind, not the body.
Yeah. Like I heard Chris Martin from Coldplay.
Yeah.
I heard that he doesn't eat anything 1 day a week. So every Monday, he just fasts all day, 24 hours. He's allowed water and I think black coffee, but no food for 24 hours. And he said it like completely changed his creative, like he writes so many more songs and he's so much more creative.
Is he starving himself for that day?
I don't know what it is, but I was like, that's interesting. I could try that.
Did you try that?
I haven't tried it yet.
So you like it?
I only heard about this the other day.
And you'll be like, that's cool. That's not the same as doing something.
But I'm the kind of guy who would go, I'd like to try that. You seem like similar.
Do you know what it is? I'm always looking for like a shortcut creatively. Do you know what I mean? So something like that was, oh my God, you did that and you got a bunch of ideas.
Yeah.
It does sound cool.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately you just have to like you can starve yourself. You still got to sit down and write songs.
Yeah, you can't just not eat anything.
You got to like do the work.
Yeah. People like to do everything except sit down and write.
Do you know what I mean? I think people are always looking for like some sort of magic formula. But ultimately, like I was watching that a bit of that. Have you seen the Beatles documentary?
Yeah.
It's like an 8
on Disney. Yeah.
I was watching a bit of that.
I haven't seen all of it. It's long.
It's long. So
Yeah.
I know you really listen to the Beatles, but I'm obsessed with like people's processes.
Yeah.
So just to see them, like they turn up every day, sit and write songs, and these great songs, and seeing how they get stuck, how they get frustrated, but they just come around. Because I think sometimes with geniuses, you look at them and be like, they must have some magic thing that they're doing, but they are just kind of sitting down and doing the work and staying with it. So,
I love all that. Like we were talking before this about there's a Avicii documentary, and that was the same thing where they're like filming him in the studio making all these songs that are massive now, and it is really interesting. And then you listen to the songs and you sort of appreciate them more, because you've seen like how much work went into it.
It's just I think obviously like talent is talent, of course, you know, but I think there's just a work ethic element. Sometimes it's maybe too much work ethic, but like they just kind of sit down and do the thing. You can't really cheat.
What's been the because you've worked with a lot of like really big famous comedians. Is there one thing that you've seen in all of them that makes? Is there one sort of like characteristic that you've seen in everyone that you've worked with who's really, really successful?
I think like they don't get ahead of themselves. Yeah, you know, they have a good gig. Yeah, it's just a good gig, and then, you know, they listen back to the set, they go to the next one. Yeah, I think it's just like I said about the process, or just one step at a time. Yeah, maybe there's that element of the people. Some of the people I've seen, it's just kind of like one bit at a time, one joke at a time, and then they kind of figure it out from there. Do you know what I mean? Because
I saw you get a shout out from Ricky Gervais.
Ah, yeah.
I'm sure everyone's told you about this.
Yeah, I've got people that told me. Yeah, I did a few gigs for him.
He name checked you as a young comedian that he likes.
He did.
Pretty cool.
That was nice. Yeah, and Ricky's a really nice guy as well.
Ricky, look at this. First name terms.
Ricky G. You know what I mean?
Can you call him now?
Yeah. Can I call Ricky? Just shout out his name if I could do that.
It's nice though that he is sort of doing that, because he could very easily not support young people, couldn't he? He could very easily just do his own thing.
He seems like such a regular guy. I was just in the green room with him. Probably the richest person I've been in a room. I'm always aware of how rich people.
But he doesn't look rich,
just wearing
does
a black t-shirt.
Yeah,
and,
like
and
he doesn't seem rich.
Some trainers. It's
Yeah.
like, damn, that man's rich.
But that's a sign of really rich people when they
Yeah.
don't look rich.
What's that called? Was it like quiet luxury?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
Quiet
like,
luxury, yeah. So I'm 28. How old are you?
29.
29. So we're the same age. And we started at the same time, which was quite young,
Yeah.
like teenager. Why did you want to do that at such a young age? Do stand up?
I think when I started, it was partly curiosity.
Yeah.
Thing that I have, but I don't know what happened when I was like 15, 16. I just suddenly got obsessed with stand up, like
Yeah.
even more than music. Like
Yeah.
I'd go to school with my MP3 listening to
Yeah.
like comedy albums I downloaded, like Chris Rock, like
Yeah.
what's it called? Never Scared. That album I used to listen to and I used to recite it. And then I wrote when I was 15. I need to find this actually because it's on a Word document. I wrote what I thought was my first comedy special.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna sell it to HBO because that was at the time I was 15.
What, just written out?
It was just written out in pen. I called it Laugh, Judge, Leave. That's the name of the special.
Laugh, Judge, Leave.
Which is not a bad.
It's not a bad name.
I might still take that.
You could still use
I'll
that.
put that on a doormat. Laugh, Judge,
Yeah,
Leave. That'd be
yeah.
that's a
I
whole
can
industry.
see a merch stand
Yeah.
full of Laugh, Judge, Leave.
Not only that, I wrote Laugh, Judge, Leave 2. I wrote the sequel,
Wow.
and I was gonna sell that to HBO as well.
Laugh,
So,
Judge, Leave too.
yeah, I might just do a show where I just do those jokes verbatim.
Yeah.
That I wrote when I was 14, 15
That's
and
funny.
see if they still work.
Or
There's
you
probably
could
like
even
15
say
minutes there.
you could even say on stage, "This I wrote this when I was 14. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try it now and see if it works."
Do you know what's bad is if it starts killing better than
Yeah,
some
exactly.
stuff I've written as a fully grown adult.
Yeah.
But I was like, for a while, I was like upset. I just wanted to do it.
So you just sat in your room writing. You
Yeah.
weren't going on stage.
No, because I was still young. I was 15,
Yeah.
16, and I was like, I didn't think I was old enough. And I'm like from a Nigerian household. You know, your parents want you to be like a lawyer or whatever. So I'm thinking like, I don't know if I actually can do this. So I remember I did my first gig. I was still in sixth form actually, and I lied to my mum. I said I'm going to a sleepover with my friend, but then I went to, I think it was downstairs at the King's Head.
Yeah.
And then I
Crouch
did.
End.
Yeah, I think that one you had to pay £4
Yeah.
perform.
That rings a bell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
You got
had
to
to-
ring the guy between 8 and 12 on a Monday.
Yeah, you had to pay to play. So I went there, and I had a stage name.
What was your stage name?
My stage name was Fillmore Brown.
Fillmore
was-
Brown. Hang on a second. So the special's called Laugh, Judge, Leave
Yeah.
by Fillmore Brown.
By Fillmore Brown.
Wow.
And then I stopped
I don't
using
think
it
you should drop that.
because
That's
someone told me it's a stripper name. That sounds like a stripper name,
Yeah.
Fillmore Brown. So I was like, yeah,
It's a
that's. So I stopped using that one.
sounds like a 60s soul band. Fillmore
Yeah.
Brown.
I just wanted something smooth. I was like, I'm gonna be the smooth.
So he introduced you as Fillmore Brown.
Yeah, he said I could see the double take. It's like, yeah, it's Fillmore Brown. And then I went up.
And then
like 16.
when did you think I'm just gonna be Michael Odewale?
By the next gig, by the very next
second
gig,
gig, yeah.
because by that gig I invited two of my friends,
Yeah.
and you had to write down your name on the list, and I was writing Fillmore Brown. And they said, what the fuck? Yeah,
Yeah.
it was that. So they made me cross it out and write
Yeah,
down
nice.
my real name. And then I remember that gig I was really nervous because obviously I invited two friends, so it felt
First gig.
second week.
So how did the first gig go?
The first gig I only did 2 minutes, so.
2 minutes.
I think I was like, it was like a competition.
Oh, right,
You're supposed to do like, everyone got 3 minutes.
Okay, fine.
So I did 2, and I was just like, it was so quick, I didn't even
Yeah.
have time to process it. Do you know what I mean? So it didn't even feel like real. But the second gig I remember.
But it went well.
It didn't, I don't think it went well or bad. I think I was talking so fast
You weren't letting them laugh.
and I looked so young
Yeah.
that it was just like,
Yeah.
all right, whatever.
Yeah.
So it just kind of like, well, that was.
There's a weird thing because I remember being that age on stage, and there's a weird thing where you're so young that the audience are nervous for you. That they're like, we just want this to go well because there's a child on stage.
Did you ever play on your youngness?
Oh, yeah, all the time. Yeah.
Do you think like there were some gigs where they didn't like you because you were young, or they loved you because you were young? Like,
I think it was more beneficial because it made you stand out a bit more.
yeah,
Now it's harder because we're like everyone is our age.
everyone is young.
So like, but when we were starting, a lot of the time it would be a bill of like men in their 40s,
Yeah.
and then people, me and you.
Maybe I'm wrong, but when I think back to like 2014 to 2016 when we were coming up, there weren't too many young
No,
comics in like the early 20s.
No.
Now there's so many.
yeah, there are a lot. I don't remember there being.
I feel like it was like me, you, maybe Lauren Pattinson.
I remember Elliot Steele.
Ed Knight.
I remember meeting Elliot, and he was like the first other person I'd met who was like my age.
Yeah.
And that was like a massive thing.
Yeah.
Because everyone else I'd met was like in their 40s.
Exactly.
And I felt so like out of my depth.
Do you feel like that's made you older as well? Like,
Yeah.
When you think about the amount of time we
Yeah,
spent
I
with
feel
old men.
much older.
Yeah. Like, well, in the context, like, just in car shares.
Yeah.
Listening to like mortgages at 20.
Yeah,
It's
it
kinda-
definitely makes you sort of feel like you grow. And also it's you're in a very like adult environment as well.
Yeah.
At a really young age. Like you're going on stage in front of a room full of like drunk adults.
Yeah.
And that like just forces you to like grow up, because it's a very like intense environment to be in as a teenager.
And you turned pro quite quickly. So you probably, some Fridays, Saturdays you could have spent with friends.
Yeah,
You
I
probably
didn't do
spent
any of
them.
that for a while.
You were like in the bars. You were in
From the age of
Birmingham.
like 18 to 21, I didn't really go to any social things. It was just like every weekend, just was like at a different gig somewhere.
Yeah, same.
And
But
you would have been the same.
You don't even really realize. You just got such a tunnel vision.
Yeah.
That you just kind of like.
I'm actually, I don't know if you think the same, but I'm kind of glad that I did that at that age. Because I think if I was trying to start now, I'd be way more nervous about starting.
Why do you think?
Because I think when you're that age, you have like you just have a confidence that comes with like naivety, and you don't really overthink anything. But if I was trying to start now, I'd be thinking like, I'd be so much more nervous about it.
Yeah. Also, I think it's just like that freedom of, I didn't have any other responsibilities. I mean, I had a university degree that I'm still paying off, but I didn't really think about that too much. So I just didn't have any other responsibility. It was just like comedy.
Yeah.
As I think probably now I might have some other commitments that I'm like, is this, what am I doing in my life, sort of thing.
Where are your like you said that your family, it's not the kind of career they were expecting you to go into. Where are they now on that? Are they happier now?
I think there was an element of, with my family, like when I told them I wanted to do comedy, I had not shown any signs at an age that I was good at anything else. So I think they were like, oh, there's something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then So I think also I had a passion for it.
Yeah.
Where they could see I was serious.
Yeah.
I'm really, you know, that age, you're not really committing to anything, but I was very serious about going to my gigs every day. It was all I would talk about. So I think they were just gonna, all right, we'll see where he goes with that, let it play out, and then if he then wants to go into something serious, then he'll do that. But you know, it's been 12 years later, and I'm still here.
Yeah. I think also it's way more of a like viable career now than it was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of comedians who are doing very well, and it's way more of a career path now than I think it was.
Yeah, for sure.
20 years ago,
I
maybe.
feel like maybe. I think it's way more accessible.
Yeah.
It's way more. The word's not saturated, is it? It's like there's more.
Have you heard that? I'm sorry, like to keep quoting Jerry Seinfeld, but he said something. Somebody asked him about, what do you think about now? There's way more people doing comedy. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? And he said, which I thought was really good. He was like, it's great for the business, bad for the art form. And he was like, it's great in the sense that like people are making a lot more money than they were, and it's easier to make money because you can get a following and tour, but it also means that the general quality isn't as high as it was because the bars to entry are a bit lower.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading this article. When I say article, I mean like I saw the headline and then I just made up my own story in my head. But it's saying that like comedians are focusing more on marketing than material.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Everyone's just like so focused on getting content
That's
out there.
That's like the crowd work thing though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like it's like an easy way of,
because crowd work used to be a part of comedy, like an important part. You know, you start your set getting to know people a little bit. You do some things between set, but now it seems like that is the
thing
that people want.
Yeah,
is like they want to see you rip into a guy or talk.
And even like, you're right. Even like audiences, when they go and watch, because they're used to watching it on TikTok. They're used to just seeing crowd work clips on Instagram, and when they go watch someone live, that's what they're expecting, is you to like roast the audience.
But I think
Do you feel like that?
There's space for both.
Yeah.
But I do think maybe some audiences, like maybe post a pandemic, they've been a lot more chipping in and having like a witty response.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're probably because they've seen some video and they're like, oh, this is I'm gonna get on camera.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Wearing their best outfit. For the show. But it's a weird thing, but I think there is space for that.
Yeah.
But I also think there's still space for well-crafted material.
Of course.
Always. So, I think knowing how to do both, you're quite good at both. You're good at like
Thanks.
chatting people. And
well, I always enjoyed talking to the crowd. I did always enjoy that. And that came like a lot more naturally to me than writing stuff. So I always had to work harder at writing than some people are amazing at material. And then if something happens in the room and it throws them off, they're not as comfortable with that. I was always way more comfortable with that.
I wouldn't say you put out too much like crowd work stuff though. You just like don't like doing it.
What online?
Yeah, online and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. I don't really like. Maybe I should. Maybe that's my fault. But I don't know. I don't think I really like putting that stuff out too much.
Yeah.
Because it's just so much
it's
of
just
it.
between us.
It's just so much of
me
it.
and the audience. But sometimes there is things where you see them like that was just supposed to be in the room.
Yeah.
And then some people are just like trying to recreate the moment.
Yeah.
It's like fair enough, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult. You were saying that you are in a period at the moment where you're trying to write stuff for maybe going to Edinburgh this summer.
Maybe. You might see me there, 2025.
Yeah. How's that going?
It's good. I kind of always start the year a bit slow. I just kind of write little bits and pieces. But I mean, I don't really have like a big picture in mind. Some people, they write a show and it's like it's gonna be about this.
Maybe the Laugh Judge
leave. It might be the year this year.
This could be the year. That could be the big big breakthrough. What was the Chris Rock thing he broke through with?
In the 90s when he was
what was it called? His breakthrough show?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I forgot. Was it like
Bigger
and Blacker maybe?
Yeah, was it that?
Maybe that one. It was like in 95, 96.
And it came out and everyone went crazy.
And he wore a leather jacket.
That was it.
I'm gonna wear a leather jacket all year. And leather trousers too.
I'd
They're
like
in
to
now.
see you in a leather jacket.
Yeah, the whole. I'm gonna wear.
Because you're a guy who likes to try things.
I think that could be it.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for my thing.
You went through a period of getting into like cardigans and knitted.
I was into cardigans.
Are you still doing that?
I was for a bit, but then now
that was your thing. It was
there's other comedians who are wearing them now, and I'm just kind of like, I'm not saying I influenced them, but I'm just saying, you start a trend and you kind of let it.
You wearing like really colourful cardigans could still be a thing.
No, but you have your eras. That was my cardigan.
That was the cardigan era.
It's like Taylor Swift. I have my
Pandemic
cardigan era now.
Cardigans.
Go find my new. I got to evolve. It might be sweater vest this year. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that. We were talking before about how there's a gig. The Top Secret Comedy Club. There's that curtain, and you sit behind the curtain before you go on stage. But the only issue with that is that the audience walk in and out past the curtain.
Oh yeah.
So
it's no
I've
real
been
cover.
sat in that little room before. After I've been on stage and heard audience members leaving discussing my performance.
Yeah.
And they don't realise that I'm just the other side of this really thin curtain.
It's funny when a comedian leaves and they don't close the curtain.
Yeah,
properly,
they leave it open.
so the audience just kind of see you just sitting like this, and then it just ruins all the magic.
There are some comedians who almost certainly will deliberately come off stage and then stand in a position where all the audience can see them.
Yeah, listen, I'm not gonna lie. I've stood in the smoking area when I don't smoke before. Just take it. Oh yeah, that
when
was
you've
me.
had you've had a really good set and you think I'm gonna stand at the bar for a bit. I'm just gonna stand here.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna. That was me.
That's
thank
fine.
you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Listen, we've all done it.
Yeah, we've all done it. Yeah, I don't know. Have you ever been in that situation where you've been sat behind that curtain and you've heard people talking negatively about one of your performances?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen,
It's hard at Top Secret. Everyone has a good time at Top Secret, though, don't they?
It's tough, but no,
Yeah.
you do hear some people like, yeah, that wasn't my favorite one. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. But hey, some nights you win them, some nights you don't win them. That's my favorite.
Listen, we're going to come back in part 2, and we have some listener questions and dilemmas that I think
We're going on a commercial break.
We're going to go to an ad now for Huel.
Where's the Huel at?
It's not Huel. What is it for? Manscaping? No, everything's manscaping, isn't it?
Everything's manscaping.
No, we're going to come back in part 2, and then we're going to talk about some dilemmas some listeners have sent in that are comedy club themed.
I'm ready.
So don't go anywhere. Welcome back to part 2 of Private Parts with me, Tom Lucy, and our special guest, Michael Odewale. Say hi, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I tried to start.
Hi,
second
or
clap.
thank you.
No,
Yeah,
no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. One clap.
One clap
per show. I overdid it.
Now, listen, Michael is in a. We've had a flurry of messages about whether Michael's in a relationship or not.
The listeners want to know. I'm taken.
How long have you been in a relationship for?
It's about 6 months now.
Okay.
6,
Was
7
it someone
months.
that you met through comedy?
It was through comedy.
Really?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it a comedian?
They are a comedian. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah. Why you say
Would
it like
I know
that?
them? Would I know them?
Maybe not. I don't know who you
Is
know.
it Dawn French?
I'm dating. Yeah, let me break it. I'm dating Dawn French. I'm sorry, Lenny.
That would be the story of the decade.
It might be. I like Dawn French. I was watching
I
Vicar
like Dawn
Dibley
French. She's
the other
great.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
She
There's
can
a
get
bit
it.
of an age gap maybe between the two of
I
you,
don't
but
mind
that's
it.
fine.
I don't mind that.
Okay, so it's a comedian. Interesting. I've never dated a comedian. I think I'd be nervous about doing that.
What are you nervous about?
I don't know. I think I would find it weird that being in the same industry.
I know what you mean.
Do you know what I mean?
Would you-
It's
how
nice
would
to
you-
go home and not talk about comedy.
Yeah, and you can just do that.
You can do that.
You can just not
Yeah,
talk
you
about.
can. I
an
suppose
option.
you can. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can.
How would you feel about like hearing yourself in a set?
That would be weird. Why have you heard yourself in a set?
No, not yet.
Not yet, but it's
I do
coming.
think
You know
like
it's
that.
coming.
It might be coming.
It's
It might
coming.
be coming. I think I could.
How have you found over the last 10 years dating with the kind of job that we have?
Well, it's an interesting one. Sometimes you'll date somebody from the audience, or you'll go on a date with somebody from the audience.
How many times has that happened?
It's just all in my younger years, all in my
Back
youth.
in the late 80s.
Yeah, in the heydays.
Yeah.
But then I stopped doing that because I think you would gradually over the date see the disappointment in their eyes
Yeah.
when you're not the person that you were
Yeah.
on stage.
Yeah, I know what you
You
mean.
just want to talk about meditation.
It's never you've set the bar way too high.
Yeah, because you're literally elevated. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Above
Yeah.
them. It's a weird power dynamic.
I don't even like meeting. I don't like we were saying about people who hang around after gigs. I don't even really like doing that.
No.
Because I think you just want to let people think of you like you were on stage. They don't want to see you like
Exactly.
getting on the
You don't want
tube
to see behind the
afterwards.
curtain like a top secret. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want to see that.
Yeah.
So like that was weird. I think sometimes obviously as well, the days you work, the times you work is just nights or
Yeah.
weekends. And if you're dating somebody who's working a 9 to 5,
Yeah.
you're not free
No.
when they're free, and you are free when they're not free.
Yeah.
So
Most people, I mean, I don't know if that's a generalization, but it does seem like people end up dating someone who's not necessarily a comedian, but they might like work in the industry.
just somebody who gets it.
Yeah, because it
Yeah.
is a very different kind of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
To someone working like a 9 to 5 corporate job.
So you never dated a comic?
No, or anyone even really.
Just
in-
anyone. You never.
Or anyone.
You're saving for marriage.
I'm saving myself. I'm very highly religious. You
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that.
Scientologist.
I'm a
even.
Scientologist. I didn't even go in the building, but I'm a Scientologist. No, I've never. No, I've always been quite good at like separating work and normal life. I've always kept like my friends from school, relationships outside of the industry. I've always tried to like separate those things.
You don't have too many comedy buds.
I have a few, but not like I know some people who just seem to like all their
It's just
friends
the
seem to be
whole-
comedians.
The whole thing.
I've never been that guy.
Yeah.
And I know there are like big friendship groups in comedy, and I've never felt like I've been
But
part.
comedy's kind of like school. You know, you kind of
It is
go
a bit,
in
isn't it?
and then there's the popular kids,
Yeah.
like us.
Like us,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? And then you got like the nerds.
Yeah,
And then,
who are they? Name them.
I kind of ran out of subsections of people in school.
Who are the other ones?
You got a teacher's pet, but then I don't know who the teacher
Who's
is.
the teacher's pet? James A. Caster.
James A. Caster,
Probably.
just like the samples.
No shade to James A. Caster.
So then you got all these subsections, and then I think people kind of fall into those dynamics.
But I've never been one of those people who makes their entire life comedy and like all their friends are comedians. And
no,
I've always
I
thought
did when I was younger.
Did you? Did you fall into that?
I think it just in terms of not necessarily even having friends, just in terms of like just obsessing over this one thing.
Yeah.
But now I think I'm like good having a separation and you know.
Do you have a lot of mates who are like from your school who have nothing to do with comedy?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and you find that useful?
What, like in terms of
just in terms of having a normal life?
Yeah, for sure. Man.
I think it's really good in like for writing material to have a relatively normal life.
Well, you need it because you're in an echo chamber.
I think go on.
Also in terms of like, I think when you're in the comedy world, you kind of assume everyone knows the kind of things you're talking about because like, maybe we're like type of people who are like super focused on cultural things going on and like culture wars and stuff like that. Most people don't actually really know a lot about that or care a lot about that.
No.
But when you're in comedy, you think it's the most important thing, and then you go on stage and say something, and like, I've not heard of that.
Yeah.
So it's good to spend time with just like regular people.
Yeah.
Who are just talking about regular things.
It is really good for that. It's good for balance, isn't it? Because sometimes you can get really obsessed with, you can get really annoyed that you didn't get on some TV show, or you get really stressed about something.
Yeah.
And then you talk to someone who doesn't work in the industry and they don't even know that show's on TV.
Yeah.
Like and you just sort of reminds you that this is not as big as
you didn't get like Gardener's World on Radio 4,
exactly.
Which you didn't know you wanted until you saw somebody get it.
Gig, to be fair.
And it's like, man, I want to talk about them too.
But also, interestingly, like all of those people we were saying earlier about those really, really successful comedians, they all weirdly have quite normal lives. They don't that we know, yeah. But I don't think any of them are like, married to someone else who's really famous or live in a particularly different life. They manage to like keep their lives quite normal.
So maybe that's the
key.
That's the key.
Yeah, maybe that is the key. Corporate gigs was something else I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay, you booking?
I have some offers for you.
Yeah.
If you want to listen.
Let's do it.
How do you find? Do you do corporate gigs? Because I know some people don't do them out of some sort of weird morality.
No, I'll do like if it's like for like selling weapons.
Sure, you will do that.
Probably. I literally only holding out for that one.
Yeah.
That's a
big
weird
one. You get
place to have a comedy.
The Arms Dealers Awards.
Yeah.
At the Grosvenor House.
Appropriate place to bomb.
Nice.
That's good jokes, man.
Very nice.
So
you'll definitely get it after this.
Shop, yeah.
It's because you've been fasting. That's how you're getting that.
Yeah, that's just on the black coffee only, right? But no, I'll do a couple. They're not the most fun to do.
Yeah.
Like they make you feel like bad inside.
Sure.
Because you're just like a piece of furniture. And they're kind of just eating dinner.
Yeah.
While you're telling jokes. Eating dinner off, like depends for the extra 500. But
do you find doing corporates weird at our age? Because sometimes I find doing a corporate gig in front of a room full of people who are in their 50s. Why have they booked a 20-something comedian?
What you doing like the Plumber Awards and shit? What kind of stuff you doing?
I've done the Construction Awards.
You're lying.
I'm not lying. I did that just before Christmas.
They were looking through like the Rolodex of comedians.
I'm sure that they wanted someone else and they weren't available.
So it was like you were Jason Manford for the Construction Awards, and they like Tom Lucy. That's
actually that was a good example of one where I arrived and was like, why have I been booked for this?
You grew the beard especially for that, didn't you?
I was like
I'm not going
I just looked out at like hundreds of like builders in their like old builders.
I bet you bought a Carhartt like 2-piece especially for that.
I was wearing a lot of workwear for that.
Bit of Timberland boots.
I had a lot of pockets all over me.
But you had props. You brought a little spanner.
I had a tool belt.
Yeah.
But I just was on stage. I mean, it was fine. But I just was on stage thinking, this is an odd booking.
So you
would have preferred.
You were doing crowd work at the Construction Awards.
Innocent. Doing crowd work at the Construction Awards. Yeah, I didn't put that on Instagram.
No, were you though?
I tried to, yeah, but they weren't.
So let's. I'll do the.
Well, it was one of those like. It was one of those like.
No, do crowd work on me. Like,
You're a builder.
Yeah.
I said, are you? What company do you work for? And then they would say PLC Plumbers, and I'd go, Anyone else from PLC Plumbers? And then that table would cheer, and I'd go, all right, so it's just this table. Every company's a different table. That makes sense.
You're just holding a census, so that for you just all right, so that's PLC.
But it very
that
quick.
worked?
No, it didn't work. I was thinking if I can just get them to make noise, then at least it's not silent.
If they're producing sound,
yeah,
then
even
if booking,
if that sound is cheering that they're from a company, then whoever's booking it is going, well, they seem to be having fun.
Yeah, that makes sense. I did last year. I did the GP. I did a GP surgery, like it was like an award ceremony. So I did
for one surgery.
It was like multiple
right.
GPs, and so they said the only thing is don't talk about anybody dying, because someone had a patient die recently or something like that, and then they're quite sensitive about it. And then like literally midway through a bit, I'm talking about somebody dying, and I'm like, I literally forgot the one thing they told me. Yeah. So then I had to like change the punchline mid joke to like, and then everything was fine, and then they were like, why'd you tell that story? Because that don't make sense. Funny. I just moved on from there.
Jamali Maddox and me years ago did a what we thought was a corporate gig, because we were being paid like a corporate gig, but when we arrived it was actually a fundraiser, and it was a fundraiser for the police, so the entire room was police, like Metropolitan Police. And it was a fundraiser for one of their officers who had been killed in the line of duty.
No.
And we didn't know this until we arrived, and we were being explained to by this lady that that's why we're all here, is to raise money for the Met Police Fund that supports the families of officers who have been killed.
No way.
And they said the wife of the officer who died wants to say a few words
before the jokes.
So we're gonna introduce her. She's gonna say a few words, and then we're gonna bring you right up.
No.
And I was like, I really think this is a bad idea.
We need some gap.
I was like, listen, I fully am sensitive of what the evening is, and that she wants to speak, but I really think it's a bad idea to have her.
Let's have a little drinks break.
So we ended up convincing them to have an interval after she had. So she spoke for like 5 minutes. It was all really emotional. Then there was an interval, and then me and Jamali went on.
They were gonna.
But I was like, why have you thought that this is a fun idea?
Essentially, she was gonna MC you on.
Yeah, I mean, I've had worse MCs, but it was up there. We actually convinced Jamali, and I managed to convince the organizer to not have a massive photo of the officer behind us while we were on stage. Because when we arrived, there was a massive screen, and it just had a projected image of the officer in his uniform. And we were like, is that going to be there the whole night? And they were like, yeah. And we were like, when we're on stage, can you take that down? Because it's quite hard to perform in front of a picture of a dead police officer to a load of other police officers.
Oh my goodness.
And that was rough.
Did you kill?
No, it was fine. Neither of us killed. No. That's the wrong phrase.
No,
we got through it. We got through it.
It would have been disrespectful to.
It would have been disrespectful
to kill. It's not appropriate, but
we got through it. But then it just reminded me that like there are so many situations where you turn up and you think whoever's organised this has no idea how to run a comedy gig.
Yeah,
and that this comedy is not appropriate in this situation.
Yeah.
I think people think you can just put a comedian on anywhere and it'll be fun.
I once did a gig it was Nigerian Independence Day. So I was performing in front of
I haven't done that one.
No, you didn't get booked.
I'll
get you in contact.
Can I get into that one?
Yeah, I'll bring you in, don't worry. And I was performing in front of like Nigerian lawyers.
Yeah.
And like I bombed.
Yeah.
They're all looking at me like, you chose the wrong path in life type thing. Like all my uncles.
It was like a load of disappointed fathers.
Yeah, like a lot of disappointed uncle figures, right? And then there was like, they were serving jollof rice.
Right.
Like at the end. And the ladies like, you can't.
You're not allowed any. Went so badly, you're not allowed any.
This jollof ain't for you. I mean, I'm kind of looking at myself like, why was I trying to stay and get a plate anyway? Like, I think like
it's the confidence of you to just eat with them afterwards. I would have been straight out the door.
I wanted my plate. It was like I've bombed here. Like, at least let me get a plate. And she's like, nah, you can't.
Eating with
That's
the
for
audience
winners.
after you've bombed.
I'll own it.
Have you heard the story about the comedian who did a gig on a cruise ship, and it went so badly that they got helicoptered off the boat? They were booked for
Like they were chased
They
out.
were booked for a week, so they had to do 7 shows over a week, one every night. And the first night went so badly that on the Tuesday morning, they arranged a helicopter to chopper them off the boat and chopper another comedian on. Think of the expense of that.
It was cheaper than docking.
That's how badly
Yeah.
that first night
Yeah.
went. That they were flown off the boat.
That's a badge of honor almost.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Have you ever done a cruise ship?
Never done a cruise
Have you
ship.
ever been offered a cruise ship?
Nah, I like land.
You're
Do
a
you know what I
land
mean?
guy.
I'm more of a land comedian.
You're one of this country's greatest land
I've
comedians.
been told that. I've been told that when you're on sea, there's no such thing as joke theft. So
Really? What is
like-
international waters?
yeah, genuinely, I've been told if you're on sea, you can take anybody's
Really?
material.
Wow, maybe I will do them then.
Yeah, like there's no. It's not like there's no law, but
No.
apparently like it's not as frowned upon to just like do.
Really? Wow.
Like you could go like there's out and then there's out. You do
Oh,
that
you
on a
could do
like
that
you
on a-
could just
on a
do it
cruise
on a
ship.
cruise ship and then it'll be fine.
Wow. I might go on and just do the whole of Chris Rock's special.
Just do the.
It'll make no sense coming out
Yeah.
of my mouth.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it'll be quite racially
With the
insensitive.
leather jacket.
With the leather jacket.
Yeah. Women, they be. I want to
And
hear
then
you do that.
before you know it, you'll just hear the chopper.
Yeah.
You'll just hear the wings of the chopper landing. You refuse to perform at sea, right? I've heard that.
Nah, not really.
You
Unless
won't
it's
even
like,
do the boat show.
No, but that's a moored boat. That boat is moored.
You don't like a moving boat.
But even sometimes that one rocks.
It does rock, yeah.
So like, nah, but generally, no, only on land.
Only on land. Do you remember when they did that gig for a while where it was like on a plane? Do you remember that? There was a.
No, I don't
It was a comic relief thing, and it was like a BA flight from London to Edinburgh, which is like an hour flight, and they would have 3 comedians during the flight perform over the like tannoy
I
system.
was like, hell,
How awful does that sound?
awful.
But it was a whole. The passengers all knew it was happening. It was a whole thing
Would you keep your set going if the plane was
going down.
going down? You know, like in Titanic when
Yeah,
they're
the
still
band still playing.
you're doing your dick jokes in
I'd
out of honor.
like to think I'd be trying to do crowd work.
That's when you do your crowd
Where are
work.
you from, sir?
Yeah,
Ah, Luton, my kind of town.
that's a clip. That's
That's
clip.
a good clip.
Imagine you load that up
If-
just before you go down.
If you can
Mate,
film it and airdrop it off the plane before it goes down,
connection gets better
that's
the
a
lower you
good
go.
clip.
Really,
That's a good
So-
clip. Yeah, I don't know if I'd perform on a plane. Where's the weirdest place you've done a gig?
the weirdest place I've done a gig.
Like the most inappropriate environment for comedy.
I did a gig like it was like it's maybe like a fashion house.
Mm-hmm.
It was like Hermes.
Like in the office.
Yeah, in the office they were doing they wanted to have like a comedy. So then I was like, oh, I'm gonna wear my best cardigan.
Sure, yeah.
I'm gonna show out.
And people who work in fashion famously can take a joke.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was going there partly for jokes, partly being like, this could be, you know, like Naomi Campbell, she got smotted.
Yeah.
Looking through a mall.
Oh, what you
Like,
think
this
you
could
might get
be my
scouted.
story. So I'm just performing the jokes, just kind of like pouting
You
a bit.
pouting a lot, yeah.
I'd leave a silence and be like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, between every bit. But they didn't go for me.
They didn't pick
They
you
didn't-
up
they
for the
didn't see
campaign.
vision. But I think the lighting wasn't great in there,
No.
so that's probably the reason
The
why.
vision. It's all about the vision.
There we go. So
That is a weird one. What was it? Just like normal office lighting?
yeah,
They didn't
just
even have a
regular-
stage or anything.
Regular.
Have you done ones in? You must have done ones when you were coming up in restaurants.
Oh yeah.
A lot of
yeah,
restaurants.
couple restaurant ones.
Yeah, literally just in the corner.
Yeah. Not even turn the music off.
No, I like it when they don't tell the diners that there's a comedy night happening.
Yeah.
So they're all having dinner and then they just go, "All right, everyone,
Yeah.
the comedy's about to start."
I did one last year in a pub, and it was like World Cup. I think last year,
Mhm.
and it was like a dead rubber game. It was like Switzerland versus, Colombia.
Yeah.
Like dead rubber game. And it's kind of humbling to know I'm not more popular.
Yeah.
I'm not more interested than that. Like, no
People
one
was-
goes up. There's not a.
people's eyes were just going back to the screen.
Yeah, this is a 0-0 game. It's not
Yeah.
interesting. You know what
Wow.
I mean? My joke, I was trying to battle with that.
Yeah.
That's the power of football right there.
That is.
Dead rubber game, you still can't.
Are there any cities of the UK that you get nervous about performing in?
Certain venue, like I've been Manchester. I have a great time in Manchester. Generally, one time I did a gig in Manchester in this rowdy venue, man, and all the seats are kind of sideways.
What's it called?
Burkeller.
Oh yeah, the Comedy Store one.
Yeah, they're not facing you; they're kind of sideways.
Yeah, I've
sitting.
done that gig.
So you're really battling for their attention.
And it's in like a proper like nightclub, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like Saturday night, and I've got this kind of motor mouth style when I'm doing those kind of gigs, because I don't want to leave any gap for them to try and heckle or just try and interrupt me. So I do, so I did that one. I did quite well actually, and then I go home and I get like a note the next day from the Comedy Store. They sent me a complaint.
What?
Basically, I'd gone on, done my set, and then left, and then another black comedian named Fumbi, he'd gone on, and a drunken audience member was like, "You said the same comedian on twice."
Oh my god!
You said the same guy.
They emailed that to the Comedy Store.
And then the Comedy Store, like, it's funny. They said to me that, like, because Fumbi's like, he's like mid-40s. He's got dreads.
It's very different. Yeah,
he's wearing a whole different outfit.
Yeah,
and he's doing a whole different set.
Yeah.
But then somebody was so drunk, they're like,
That's
"I
funny.
seen that. You said the same guy on.
That's so funny.
I want my money back." And I was like, "That's funny." You know what's like so racist is like, it's funny. I can't. Yeah. You can't get mad at that. You just have to.
Yeah.
Like, because they had sobered up, surely the next day, maybe, and then still said that.
That's funny.
I think that's hilarious.
What about like Liverpool? Do you have a gig in Liverpool?
I haven't given to Liverpool in years. I'd love to go back though. I've never been to Newcastle. I want to go there.
Yeah. Liverpool was always the place that I would like get nervous about more than any of the other Manchester, Newcastle.
Why would you say that?
Because I just think people in Liverpool they're all really funny. Everyone in Liverpool is funny, and they all think they're really funny. So at a comedy night, they're all sat in the audience thinking, I could do that. We're funnier than this guy.
But Liverpool is kind of like, they support their own, innit?
Yeah, like if you're on the bill with someone from Liverpool, they're going to fucking kill and you're going to have a tough time.
Yeah. So
it's a little bit like, I don't know.
If your energy is too London, you're gonna be up against it.
Unless you're going there to like do a tour show and people are coming to see you.
Yeah.
I think it's difficult to just go and do like a mixed bill night. But maybe I'm wrong.
But it's nice when you catch them though.
Yeah.
It's nice when you get them on side.
Yeah.
But it can be like, I can see why it's tough, because like I think there's like, support there.
But then also London is like arguably the hardest place.
You reckon? For an outsider or for a Londoner?
Maybe not for us because we're from here, but I just think London is a tough crowd. And I've heard people talk about it, like musicians talk about it when they come and do shows in London. Like London is a tough audience.
Really, you think so?
Yeah, because you must have, like when you travel out to like, somewhere, some town that's kind of got nothing going on, and they're a great audience because they're just so happy that there's something happening.
Haven't had any entertainment.
Yeah, whereas in London there's so much happening all the time that the audience are a bit like, okay, if this isn't good, I'm going to be pretty annoyed because there's about 8 other things I could have done tonight.
Yeah,
whereas
I
if
think
you
it
go
helps
to like
when you stop. I don't care as much about
the audience.
Literally, almost like I just kind of like, I'm just gonna do this stuff I want to do, and if I like it, then they'll like it, and if they don't, then most times if they don't like it, they're probably wrong. I think. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I like
they were they had a bad attitude. That
I like that
attitude. Something for sure. So
that's the kind of confidence that comes from Transcendental Meditation.
I think so.
Just to bring it all back to the beginning.
Just ultimately, it's never your fault. I think that's the point of all meditation and therapy.
Yeah. Your life motto is deny, deny, deny.
Deny. Me and Luigi.
Okay, we've got a listener story here, which I think you're going to like. The subject of the story is, I went to a stand-up comedy gig on a date and ended up crying. You can relate to that?
Every night? It's my life.
Here we go. It was my 4th date with her. Oh, it was a 4th date. Okay, fine. And she had...
4th date should be married.
4th date. Yeah. You're getting close to marriage territory there. It was my 4th date with her, and she had the idea to go to a stand-up gig where different amateur comics came up and did their set. I don't like the word amateur there.
Yeah.
That feels
I don't like the way you say amateur.
Amateur.
You putting real T in there. Amateur.
Amateur.
Amateur. Are you saying it right?
Amateur.
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 Amateur. Let's take it out altogether.
Yeah.
Different comics came up. 3 of the 5 comics made me a part of their routine. They all went in on me for the way I looked, dressed, and constantly made it a point that the girl I was seeing was out of my league. One asked me how much I paid for her to be my date. Interesting. I tried to be good-natured about it, but honestly I couldn't help but take everything personally because all of it was true. Not this part about being paid for, maybe. I ended up crying by the time the last comic came on, and the girl noticed and said that we should leave. I dropped her off and I tried to text her, but I haven't got a response. Any advice for taking a date to a comedy gig?
This feels like one big humble brag. Yeah, I date baddies, man, and it's really been getting to me. For like Drake
I don't know
wrote
what the
this.
problem is there. That all sounds
Man,
fine.
I'm just dating this bad bee, man.
That
I
story
take her-
is basically that you took a really hot girl to a comedy gig.
He just said I'm suffering from success, basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean, man? These girls, they're just out of my league, man. It makes me emotional. What are you talking about?
What is I don't know what the. I mean, there's a bigger issue there about people taking dates to the front row of a comedy gig.
Taking dates to the front row is always risky. You got to be very secure.
It's quite a big thing now, though, isn't it? It feels like it's happening a lot where people are on dates and they're on the front row
Have you done this? Tom? Have you picked on couples?
all the time.
Do you press them onto their relationship status?
Yeah, because it's fun for the rest of the room.
I think so.
Even if you just say to a couple on the front row, "Are you a couple?" and they go, and they look a bit awkward, and then you go, "Oh, is it a date?"
Yeah.
And then they go, "Yeah," and then the whole room loves it. They love
Yeah.
it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know why people are
exciting.
not like. I think you should be secure in your status, whether you're dating or in a relationship or whatnot.
Yeah,
Before you before
sit
you
on the
front.
fire.
I had a guy sit on the front row and he had 2 girls, and he's dating them both. Very confident
Wow.
about it. He
Like
was
David Hay?
Yeah. Might have been David Hay in the front row. But nah, he was just like, yeah, these are my girls, and they stood by their man.
Pretty scary.
Yeah. I don't think the audience, the rest of the audience is quite middle aged, so they didn't know what to make of him.
Yeah, and he sat on the front row as well, which is scary because he
Hands-
obviously knew you were going to ask.
Arms around them both.
Arms around them both.
Yeah, I know.
Were you doing a gig in a strip club?
This was in the Playboy Mansion
Yeah,
just somehow,
yeah.
and then it just happened. There's a corporate.
Were you?
But,
Because you used to gig a lot at Diddy's parties,
Yeah,
right?
that's I left after 9. Before 9. Left before 9.
Yeah.
No, it happened.
He used to book you a lot, didn't he?
Yeah, well,
Compare. You
Yeah.
were compare.
I don't know. That's worse or better.
Would you rather compare a Diddy party or do a set?
I'd open. No, I'm not.
You
opening,
wanna open, yeah.
opening Diddy. I'm not. No, let's put
Let's
all of that
leave
work.
that, let's
we're not
leave
closing Diddy. We're not opening Diddy.
Have you ever done a gig for like a private party?
I didn't know if you're like, is this promo for the? Is that like you have to
private
say
parts.
the name?
Yeah, private
of the
parts.
show.
yeah. I got to say at least once.
I did it. No, have I? I think I've been offered one.
Yeah.
But I could just tell it was not.
It's not gonna.
It was
be good.
paid well, but it was just gonna be like, oh, me and my family in a kebab shop.
Yeah.
I'll give you like 1,500. And I was like, I just don't want to do that.
No.
I think I value my comfort.
They throw in a kebab for that or not?
I mean, I would have stayed for the kebab
Yeah.
for 100%.
But if the set had gone badly, they might have said you can't have a kebab.
I'm eating with
now.
the family for sure.
You're eating with the
I'm
family.
eating with the family with the kebab because
Yeah.
that's my right.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
no, but I think this guy needs to like, come on, what you doing? He
Yeah.
said he cried.
I think it
Why-
sounds.
why are you crying?
It sounds like he's a touch on the sensitive side.
Yeah,
So if you are, then probably don't sit on the front row of a comedy gig with or without a date.
yeah.
If you're
Do
a
you
bit,
judge him for crying in that
A
situation?
little bit.
I do
a little bit,
heavily.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot,
Yeah,
a lot.
nothing wrong with crying.
But on a
Nothing
date,
wrong
on
with a man crying.
date.
Crying in this situation is wrong.
yeah, and on a date,
And in front of the date,
yeah.
on a fourth
Have you
date.
ever cried on a date?
No, probably not.
No.
Maybe after a date. just
Oh,
like,
sure,
just
yeah,
with the bill.
after.
It's like,
Before and after, for sure.
yeah, you gotta get the pre-cry out.
But not during.
Pre-cry, but during cry, crazy.
Now that you're in a relationship with another comedian, would you ever go and sit in the audience of a...
What? No.
No.
No,
Not on the front row, obviously, but would you sit like... I don't know what the question is there. Would you ever go to see a show together?
Nah, I don't.
You don't like to do anything.
I have no desire to watch comedy, man.
Do you watch a lot of comedy?
Like, not as much as when I used to. I kind of have the people I like, and I keep an eye on them.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of like, like comedians, I just went to go watch.
Oh,
Not a famous person, just somebody that they know.
Yeah.
Or they don't know, but they just
Like,
same level of them.
yeah.
Like, you're insane.
That's what I was saying earlier about the making comedy your whole life. That's never been my...
I know, they're supporting people in our industry. What? That makes sense. It's weird.
Being nice to each other and
It's crazy. Your
going
peers.
and what, like on your night off, going and watching someone do a gig. What?
Like, I want every comedian to do well. I just
Really?
have no desire
Really?
to... I have no desire to watch the process of it. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Just everyone's...
Do you really want everyone to do well?
I genuinely believe other people doing well doesn't affect
That's good.
me.
That's all the therapy and the meditation.
Yeah, man.
That's
I'm at
got you there.
peace, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wish I was more toxic. I think it'd
Really?
be good to be more... I think
This feels like a good idea for a routine.
Really?
You could spin that into something.
You
I think
reckon?
I should be more toxic.
I wish I was a bit more. I'm a bit too like peace and love. I think I have some more. You need a bit.
It's
of, like,
harder. It's a harder if you're trying to be funny. It's easier to be toxic than to be peace and love. Because being really calm and chilled about everything is great, but not if you're trying to make people laugh.
This is it.
You need like a strong opinion about something.
I was watching
It's
a
easier to
Michael-
say like, I fucking hate this,
Mm.
and that's funnier than being like, I don't mind.
Yeah.
It's easier to be funny if you've got a really strong viewpoint about something.
I would say like the peace and love, it allows me to come at something from more angles. Because like, if I'm not coming from hate, what's another way to look at it? Because if everybody's gonna come at it from I hate this, then to try and be different, you'd be like, oh well, what about this side of it, sort of thing, and then kind of like what's it called, a devil's advocate type perspective.
Yeah.
But I was watching a Michael Jordan documentary. You've seen that?
Yeah.
He's like a full-on sociopath.
He is, isn't he?
But
The
I think
Last
that's
Dance.
good for success,
Yeah.
to just kind of like not have empathy and stuff.
Yeah, he's a bit of a dick in that, isn't he? Like to Scottie Pippen and
But
all
like
that.
7 rings,
Can't argue with
7
it.
rings. You know what I mean? So that's
What's your viewpoint on that idea that like those people who are that successful are all sociopaths? Do you think that's true?
some of them are. I'm sure there's plenty of nice. You can get to the top by being nice.
Do you think?
But it's more of an interesting story when you read about the assholes and
Yeah.
the dickheads. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe it's like with the Michael Jordan thing. It's not that he's a dick. It's just that like he will do whatever it takes to win, and if that means doing
Being a
something
dick.
that is not very nice, he'll still do that.
Yeah.
He's not going out of his way to be nasty.
I think he would sometimes.
But he
to be
probably
fair,
would.
100%.
I don't know him. He's coming on here next week.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, so we'll ask him. He doesn't do
Why
any
can't we be
interviews
on
though.
the same one?
We could do the same one.
Yeah.
Michael
The
Jordan.
two big mics
Big mics.
from across the pond.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, Michael, thank you so much for coming on and doing this.
Thank you
This
for
has
having
been
me,
so
man.
fun. Do you've got anything you want to plug?
My Instagram.
Tour? You're gonna go on tour soon?
I might go on tour. I did a tour last year, so I need to get the material ready. I want to
Sure.
do Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And then watch this space. If you follow me on Instagram, I post lots of clips on there.
Yeah.
And then I keep you updated on my latest goings on.
I would highly recommend going to watch Michael. As always, you can follow Private Parts at Private Podcast on all social media. Contact at privatepartspodcast.com if you want to email in any dilemmas. Try and keep the crying out,
100%.
unless it's a good story.
Yeah.
And we will answer your dilemmas. We will be back next week with another very special guest. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.